Hey guys, Kelade here. Pretty much after the last video, the biggest question that came out was, well, since Bloodbath is now going to be our go-to talent for Tier 21, does anything about our single target priority change? And the answer pretty much is yes. So there are going to be changes that happens to your single target priority slash rotation. But really quickly, I did want to touch on another point that I had in that video, which was for some reason, right, the sims that I had here on my DPS didn't match exactly what the Simulation Craft website had. And the answer to that, thanks for a lot of you guys for pointing out, is the fact that the sims on the Simulation Craft, they were using the Pantheon trinket like additional effects, right? So for example, your Amanthul's Vision, right, and your Khazgoroth's Courage, there's an additional buff for each called Amanthul's Grandeur and Khazgoroth's Shaping. These buffs activate when it gets empowered, and we'll have a video going over that later on. But essentially, these buffs can only be procced in the Antorus raid. So if you're using these trinkets, for Mythic Plus or for any others, content within the game that's not Antorus, we can ignore that Pantheon effects. But if you guys did want to see the sims of these trinkets in comparison with the full Pantheon effects, here's the results here instead, right? So you can see that, obviously an increase in DPS between both Khazgoroth Courage and Amanthul's Vision, because you're just getting an additional buff, right? So this is simming it with 19 other members in your raid all wearing Amanthul's Vision and how that would benefit your DPS. So if you have 19 people, right, this is like a mythic raid, for example. With Khazgoroth, you're going to be doing, slightly more DPS wearing that for single target than Amanthul's Vision, right? Way bigger than the difference that we see when you don't have anybody else wearing the Pantheon trinkets or proccing the Pantheon effect. In fact, when you don't have anybody wearing the Pantheon effect, now, it's actually Amanthul's Vision that comes up slightly higher than Khazgoroth's Courage. So what this means is that, for something like Mythic Plus or any old raid where you're not going to be walking into Antorus, Amanthul's Vision is generally going to be better for you. But if you're actually, and actively raiding Mythic and Taurus, or if you're doing Heroic or Normal and there's a high amount of players within your group, then Khazgoroth's Courage will most likely pull ahead. But you definitely want to be aware that, right, the value and the strength of these trinkets does change slightly dependent on the eye level and just how many people are actually in your raid, and you guys can proc the buffs together. Of course, when you look at the actual individual buffs, Amanthul's Vision, it's pretty much essentially another concordance, right? The Amanthul's Grandeur just gives you strength, whereas the Khazgoroth Shaping buff, it actually gives you your highest stat between crit, haste, mastery, or versatility, and generally this will end up being mastery. And you guys will see right here, when we do sim tier 21 with the current gear setup, haste and mastery are going to still be our two best stats, but mastery does take the cake just by a little bit. If you guys can look at the normalized factors, if that makes it easier to see, right? 2.17 for mastery, 2.07 for haste, 1.95 for verse, 1.4 for crit, and then 1.0 for strength. So, mastery, haste, versatility, three stats are going to be great, and then crit falls behind, and then strength is down there at the very bottom, right? Which is why when you do get the Pantheon effects, Khazgoroth's Courage will be stronger. Now, really quickly, using kind of like the old priority, like this is the number that you sim at 2.72, and that's prioritizing Raging Blow over Bloodthirst. And here's like a progression. So like if you start prioritizing Bloodthirst actually over Raging Blow, within Battlecry, this is what happens. And then when you start prioritizing Bloodthirst over Raging Blow overall, your DPS goes up even more, right? So what I'm getting at here is there's going to be a shift in our priorities. So essentially, your Bloodbath Battlecry rotation is going to go like this. Your highest priority is going to be Rampage, Odin's Fury, Bloodthirst, Raging Blow, and Furious Slash. It is very, very likely that you should never have to ever cast a Furious Slash in this Battlecry priority, so you definitely should be watching out for that. And if you're casting too many Furious Slashes during Battlecry, you're most likely doing something wrong, and that's kind of why the priority is set up the way it is right now. Whereas with the Bloodthirst priority over Raging Blow, there might be situations, maybe if you're really, really low geared, or if you're somehow not generating the rage for it, you can actually hit a Bloodthirst, Raging Blow, and a Bloodthirst, right, before you somehow gain a rage from Rampage. Generally, you won't need to hit that many abilities before you gain the 100 rage, but just in case you don't have the legendaries, that's how it's going to be set up. And I do want to point out that the Rampage at the top, at the highest priority, does not have to be a 100 rage Rampage. Of course, your first Rampage during Battlecry will be 100 rage, right, because you're going to have the talent Reckless Abandon. That's going to give you 100 rage right when you activate Battlecry. So don't worry about the first Rampage, and then the rest of the Rampages, if you can get enough rage to hit a Rampage, you should hit it. Next, we have the Bloodbath non-Battlecry priority. It's pretty similar to the Battlecry priority except that you do want to wait for 100 rage before you actually use Rampage. And of course, you're going to be saving your Odin Sphere in Battlecry, so that's no longer included here. And in regards to the execute phase, it's pretty much the same as inner rage, right? You're essentially going to be prioritizing your enraged executes. If you're not enraged executes, hopefully you're wearing the Massacre Legendary Ring. And if you are wearing the Massacre Legendary Ring, the second in priority is going to be that Massacre procced Rampage. And if you're not enraged and you haven't procced Massacre for some reason, then you actually hit execute again to try to proc that Massacre, and you keep trying to do that until you proc it. And then fourth, if you don't have enough rage to hit the execute, and then you're going to hit Bloodthirst, and then fifth, Raging Blow, and then sixth, Furious Slash. Once again, you shouldn't have to hit that many Furious Slashes here either. You're essentially going to be hitting as few Furious Slashes as you've ever done as Fury Warrior. In a way, Raging Blow almost becomes our filler ability, and kind of Bloodthirst almost takes place of where Raging Blow was in the past. Since it has a cooldown, you want to be using it as much as possible, generating as much as rage as you can, so you can hit as many as Rampages as you can, right? With tier 21, you starve your DPS, a big chunk of your DPS is definitely going to be coming from your Rampages, and that's especially going to be coming from your Battlecry and Bloodbath windows. So I hope that was helpful in getting you guys prepared for tier 21. And of course, we'll have more stuff coming out as we get closer to tier 21 and Taurus. Let me know what you guys think about this rotation down in the comments below. Is there something that you guys have tested and tried that ends up being better? But currently, this is the best version that's currently being simmed in Simulation Craft. And as always, feel free to subscribe to see more content. See ya!